Welcome or welcome back. My name is Grace. So I'm going to be doing the banned book tag. Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading tagged me like 2-3 weeks ago. I'm not great with tags because I feel like I doubt myself, and there's like this voice in the back of my head saying you're going to think of another book once you upload. But I'm just going to go through it. I'm going to give it my best shot. So the first one is Cardiacs, a book close to your heart or a book with flowers on the cover. At first, I was going to go with flowers because I do read a lot of women's fiction. Flowers on every cover. Like, it's just like a very common theme. But I decided to go with like a book close to your heart. And I picked 2 different series. The Benevolent Society of Ill-Mannered Ladies. This is like a Regency era series. And you have 2 women, Julia and Gus. They are twins, noble women that have never been married, both for very different reasons. But because they are nobles, they are protecting children and women and marginalized people. And like, I just love like their personalities, and I love that their causes aren't like too silly. Like the stakes are very real in this world. And it's just like, it makes you feel for them. And as far as the Thursday Murder Club, that's the other one. I just love all the characters. They are elderly pensioners, as they call them. They live in this retirement village. There's 4 of them. And even the side characters are great. But it's just like, I love looking forward to whatever adventures are going to come up. The day a Thursday Murder Club comes out, like, I'm going to read it that day. Like, that's how much I love being in that world. Number 2 is XTC, a book that brings you joy, or a book written set near where you live. I picked Discworld, Southern Vampire series, and Harry Potter as far as books that bring me joy. I haven't reread the Harry Potter books in forever, but like what these 3 series have in common is just like, I like a world where there's more going on that meets the eye. Like, just like, we have a mundane life. We wake up, we make breakfast, we go to work, we do all these things. I like being immersed in this world where like there's like magic and vampires and fairies, and like I feel like in like a spiritual realm as far as like Discworld. And I just feel like it makes you appreciate life, and like just it kind of re-energizes me to think of like a spiritual plane or something. Okay, and this is one of the ones that I'm going to answer like both prompts within the one where you can pick either or. Books that take place near me. I live in Southern California in an LA suburb, so there's a lot of books that take place near me, especially celebrity memoirs. And I read I listen to on audio a lot of celebrity memoirs, and I think it's like what's fun about it is before they're rich, when they're just like average people living in LA, going to like Gwinnett Hills, just like around here. I'm listening to Future Boy by Michael J. Fox, and the school that they filmed at is the high school that I went to, and the mall is like 10 minutes away. Both of them, like, they mention Back to the Future all the time, but it's just like, it's cool seeing people's perspective around where I live. And I know living in LA, that's probably more common than where some people live. But like, I like the pre-rich area where they're just like kind of around the cities, seeing it the way I am. You know what I mean? Like, not behind a limo with security or whatever. Dan Keaton was another one where she grew up in Pasadena, which is nearby. And, it's just, I find that fun. This is one of the questions that I have nothing for. Thelonious Monk, a character with a brilliant name or distinctive hat. I feel like I read a book with somebody with a hat and I can't think of it. So that's one of the questions that I'm skipping. Number 4, Robert Wyatt, a character who experiences a sea change or hits rock bottom. And I have 2 books, and they are by the same author. And both of these are actually like 2 of my favorite books. They're written by Michael Port, and I search his name all the time to see if he's written anything else. And so far, nothing has happened, but it's like, how do you top these 2 books? So you have Reincarnation Blues. Your main character is Milo, who is like, he's been reincarnated like 900 and something times. And he just finds out that he's one of the oldest souls around. And he actually has to live a perfect life to achieve like the next step in reincarnation or whatever. Otherwise, his soul just becomes deleted and he stops to exist. So you go through some of his past lives and his current lives where he's actually trying to achieve perfection, and, if he gets it or he doesn't. But, he hits rock bottom in some of them. It's such a good book, and I love it. And this one, Up Jumps the Devil. I'll just read you the back real quick. It says, he's made of wood. He cooks an excellent gumbo. Cows love him, and he's the world's first love story and the world's first broken heart. Meet the darkly handsome, charming John Scratch, aka the Devil. So, the devil, he hits rock bottom at some point, but it's just also like just a really fun story with spirituality mixed in. The ring light is kind of blinding me right now. Okay, this is one of the books. This is one of the prompts I'm going to skip. Ivor Cutler, a favorite poetry book or poem bonus if you read the poem. I don't read poetry, so nothing to really contribute there. The Bad Plus, a book that is a retelling of an older story or a book with a mathematical term or number in the title. I'm going to go with Lady Tremaine. This is the last retelling that I have read. So this is Lady Tremaine from the Cinderella story, and it is told in like a very historical perspective. So it's like you see why she was the way she was, and just like the fact, like when I started reading it, like I do have a spoiler vlog on it, but when I started reading it, I was like, is this going to be a complete flip where we find out Cinderella was like this terrible person, like kind of like in Dorothy Must Die, or like how is it going to play out? And the way it plays out is like they're just both normal people. Cinderella, or what's her name, Ellen, in this book, she's just like a normal teen. She has her ideas of how she wants her life to be, and she's a little bit unrealistic in how practical like she has to be. She has her head in the clouds basically, and Lady Tremaine is just a mother that unfortunately in the times that she is living in, marriage is the only way that she can almost promise her daughters a good life. So it's just like, it was just such a good retelling. I loved it from like start to finish. I couldn't believe a bad review that I saw, and it was like literally just one. But it was just like, you know, when you really love something, you see someone say they hate it. It's always like, like, okay. Shudder to Think, a book that scared you or a thought-provoking book. I feel like I haven't really read a horror book that scares me where I can't go back to sleep, but books that like where the imagery or like a certain feeling sticks to me, I would say Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano. This book is basically about this town that's kind of remote. I'm pretty sure it was on an island that they live like it's the same day in 1991 every single day, and we're trying to figure out what's going on there. But there was a couple of times where like I felt like ooh like that like a spine chilling moment, you know? And the other one, I will say Between Two Fires, I forgot the author's name, but he just had like good imagery where it kind of like stuck with you. It's like a medieval horror book. Like, I can't even get it. I read it like 3 years ago. It was very complicated, but a good one. This is one of the prompts I have to skip, which is Björk, a book by a Nordic author or with an icy or winter setting. Like, this is one of the prompts where I feel like if I think about it or in 2 weeks, I'm going to think of something that I could have said. Now, number 9, The Kinks' Gentle Giant Devo Fields Music, a book about siblings or written by siblings. And I'm missing one of them. The one that I am missing is Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. I read that with my cousin. We were like in middle school, and it was one of those books where like if you read it as a little girl, you're excited to grow up. You're excited to like be free, have a job, your first boyfriend, going to college, like all those things. Like it's one of those books that makes you like, it made us excited to grow up, you know? And the other one is Pineapple Street, a novel. This book I read a couple of years ago, and it's about like this family that's in the 1%. And you flip their alternatives. You also have the perspective, I think, of one of their spouses who just grew up middle class. And it's just kind of like how they're navigating life. But what I remember about this book, like my sister likes more beach reads, and I thought she would love this book, but she was like, it made me angry. Like, it made me angry that people have this lifestyle. And so, like, siblings, that's what this reminds me of. Okay, number 10, The Beatles, a book that a parent or relative introduced you to, or a book that you've loved a long, long time. And it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like I introduced people to this book even though I was very young. And this is the Shopaholic series by Sophia Kinsella. And this is one of those books that you wouldn't have thought would be a sequel or like have a series based on it, but there's like 5-6 books. But I remember being so excited every time I had those books. I think I got my cousin into them, and I definitely got my sister into them, where like we just look forward to these books all the time. And unfortunately, Sophia Kinsella did pass away last year in December, and it made me so sad. She was very young. But when she passed away, I remember seeing this Reddit thread that talked about how people that weren't even into fashion or shopping, they loved this series because like the characters were all just like so good. They're written so well, and you just root for Becky then like in every book. I think there was like one book where I was starting getting frustrated with her and her shopping addiction. And I think that I forgot which book it was, but that was like the book where people were like, we're losing her. But then she keeps writing the series, and like we're right back where we were. But it's a good series, and I have good memories with it. And I like a lot of Sophia Kinsella's books. I haven't read the last one because it's very close to her, what she was experiencing, like fiction based on her life. And it just seems so sad. Like I'm gonna cry when I read it. But shopaholic. And finally, recommend a favorite song, album, or artist. I would say my favorite songs are Schism by Tool. That song I can listen to like for days at a time. Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. And my favorite band is Fall Out Boy and Zeal and Ardor. So that is the tag. All right, so that is the tag. I'll try to tag people, but I feel like most people have already done it. Like I'm just late. But thank you, Kelly, for tagging me, and I will see you guys in the next one.